What is up, everyone? Please take a second to hit that like button. The more likes that we get in a short period of time, the more people the algorithm will bring into the chat to come hang out with us and see what's going on. So please hit that like button. Let me know how you guys are doing. We're sitting here waiting for old man Walter to either make an appearance or not make an appearance. And if he does make an appearance, he'll just be blaming others and, you know, blowing smoke. But that's what we're here for. What's up, Gang of Four? What's up, JD? What's up, Jesse? Yeah, I want to hear the same thing. Hopefully this is him resigning, but you know it's not. What's up, Mana? What's up, Francesca? Bill, I don't know. I don't know if old man Walter is going to show or not. He's already 7 minutes late. What's up, Volkfire? What's up, Freedom First? Thank you. I want to try and do a flag march every week. That's my goal. It's kind of difficult to set up without alerting everyone. I don't know. I'm working it out. Taking it one day at a time. But I want to try and do it every week. What's up, WMM? What's up, Kyle? What's up, Gold Blooded? I'm doing all right. How are you? What's up, MT Coiner? Yeah, as far as the longer style, yep, I would go with that. For my sidearm, I do a XDM. I've never had any problems, never had a jam, never had stove piping or anything like that happen. I take care of it. It's my favorite. Edge forever. I'm down to hear it. Write me on Discord or send me an email. What's up, Proud Ankle? What's up, William? What's up, Scott? Cookie Wookie? What's up, Volkfire? Oh, I'd love to do a march over in Dearborn. Is ISIS still out there? Jason, you think the time has changed to 4:45? Well, it'll probably be 5:45 my time. The White House schedule says at 5 p.m. Eastern, which was 8 minutes ago. Old man Walter will deliver remarks on attacks in a name I can't even pronounce, airport, and the U.S. service members and Afghan victims killed and wounded. At 45 after, which will be in 35 minutes, there's supposed to be a press briefing with Press Secretary Jen Balsacki, which I don't understand why we'd have a press briefing after old man Walter speaks. That seems kind of backwards, but that's what's on the schedule. Thank you so much, Alec and Kyle. I really appreciate the donations and the support. Thank you guys for being here. What's up, Jersey Devil? Edge forever. That, you know, that's how I like it anyways. Nice and simple. What's up, Todd? Amy M. I'm not sure what you mean. Thanks, Spectra Matrix. I really appreciate the donation and the support. Come to Tacoma. We have plenty of ISIS here. I would if I knew where that was. There's a lot of places I would like to go. It's just more or less about being able to afford to go there. What's up, Sarah Clark? What's up, Shane? Thank you guys for being here. What's up, Bipolar Bear? Yeah, I don't know when it became okay to negotiate with terrorists. I don't understand that. Hey, thank you, GM. I appreciate the donation, the support. Thank you for being here. Mr. Roman. Oh, in Washington State. Yeah, that's the other side of the country. That's why you don't see me like going to Portland and stuff. I don't know. I feel like if I went to Portland, I'd end up in jail and you guys would have less Antifa problems. Ghost VA. I rock the XDM full size. I'm not even sure about the Elite. I think the Elite came out after I got my XDM. Judas. Oh, that makes sense. Judas says the press briefing is so we can translate. That's all the toaster talk that's been happening lately. Translate the gibberish Uncle Joe says. That makes sense. Evil Cat, thank you so much for your donation and your support. That's awesome. You're watching us from France. Thank you so much. HG, thank you for reminding me. See, we gotta make sure we put Walter up on the screen. That way he knows where he's supposed to report. Otherwise, he might end up walking around the White House and stuff, you know. He needs 10 people to guide him through a hallway. Thank you so much, John, for your donation and your support. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to declare war or not. I'd be surprised if he didn't, but we knew that was going to happen. As soon as they started talking about can't impeach the person holding office if we're in the middle of war, so we kind of knew that was the plan. Hey, thank you, Sean Flynn. I appreciate the donation and support, and I appreciate you watching for the length of time you've been watching. You're awesome. '15th CS Hannah went to DC yesterday for a prayer rally for Afghanistan. Hardly anyone showed up. I didn't even know there was a prayer rally yesterday. Did you guys go live, or did you advertise that was going to be happening? I didn't come across that, and I didn't have any hooligans posted in the Discord. You should join the Discord, and the next time you go to something like that, if you plan on going live, post the link and we'll put you on the screen. Thank you so much, Tom Brady is Base, for joining the membership program, and welcome to the family. You're officially a hooligan. Michael says, after listening to Biden speak, I feel like I need a CAT scan. Oh man, I swear. Concerned Women for America. It was live streamed on their Facebook page. I'll have to check it out. A lot of times when people go live, they don't put titles up. They don't have descriptions. Maybe they don't go live very often. And so when that's the situation, it's so hard to find lives. There's literally no keywords to grab that live out of a search bar. So that's probably why. But I will check it out, and I'll try and follow the page, and that way when it goes live, I'll get notified for it, and we'll be able to put you guys on the screen. Hey, thank you, Tom Brady is Based. I appreciate the donation and the support. We all miss Trump. This is just ridiculous the way we're all living right now. What's up, Zachary Brooks? Thanks for being here. Well, 16 minutes late. Somebody needs to wipe Walter. He's having some issues. We'll see if he can make it. I actually seen a news article yesterday saying that the White House is having trouble getting Walter to show up on time. Like, why did he even want to, why did he even run? Why even run? Who told him to run to be in office? What a bunch of nonsense. What's up, Blunt Conservative? Oh yeah, I definitely miss Trump. I mean, I try to be unbiased, but I mean, how could anybody want this guy? How could they? You know, I'm pro-American and pro-American rights, pro-Constitution. Anybody who goes against America, anybody who goes against the Constitution, I'm against that. Like, I don't know. I've had a lot of people get on me about being biased lately, but what am I supposed to do? Sit here and act like this is okay? Like this is all right? People out there burning the American flag and saying death to America and stuff, that's just okay? Like, there's no way. I'm not CNN. Like, this isn't gonna work. I'm not gonna pretend like, oh, they're chanting death to America, but they seem really friendly. No, I just can't. I can't do that. Holy crikey. Every time you click the Discord link, it takes you to the Discord homepage. I think you have to make a Discord account and then try the link again. I know there's a lot of people write me messages right now saying they can't get into the Discord, but at the same time, just from the last live, we had like 20 something people show up in the Discord for the very first time. So the link does work, and it is a specific link to go directly to my server. But I think when you go to the homepage, you have to make your account. You have to have an account. You can't just show up there on, like no name, guest viewer or whatever. It's not like that. You have to have an account. It's free. You just, I'm not even sure. I've had mine for over a year now, so I'm not sure what the steps are. Plus, it keeps updating and stuff. But yeah, you make an account, click the link again. It'll offer you to come into the server. And that should be it. Now, I haven't done it on a computer, so I'm not sure how that works. But I know on your phone, if you click the link, it'll ask you if you want to use your browser, and if you do, it takes you to the home page. But if you download the Discord app and you click my link, it should take you to my server, because I tried it right after the last live because people were trying to tell me that the link doesn't work, and the link does work. I'm just not sure what everyone's problem is. There's a wide range of issues when these things happen. It could be anywhere from what's going on with your computer or your phone to how used to working with technology you are. Sometimes we have issues where people aren't receiving verification codes through their email because of the kind of email they have, or maybe they put in their email incorrectly, and so they can't verify that they're over 18, so then they can't participate in certain parts of the chat. It's hard being customer service for this platform when I don't have any control over it. The most I can do is provide a link and some advice. There's probably more people watching that have better experience with Discord than I do. So hopefully some hooligans that see these questions and stuff will offer some help. That's really all I can say about it. Thank you so much, Wolf Mule, for your donation and your support. Thank you for being here. Old Man Walter, 19 minutes late. He better show up, because I don't want 2 empty lives for the day. The White House, this would never fly the other way around. If you were summoned to the White House or even the courthouse, if you're not on time, they put out a bench warrant for your arrest. This is just so messed up. These people are supposed to be in charge. They can't even show up on time. Yeah, holy crikey. Hopefully that shines some light on it. I don't know. When I made Discord, I had no idea what I was doing. Hooligans told me to make it. I put it together. We all found our way. But I know that people have different issues with it, and I'm trying to offer as much help as possible. I'm not trying to sound condescending or anything. But it's like an everyday thing that people are struggling with the Discord, and it's worth the trouble. Let me put it like that. It is worth the trouble. If you can make it into the Discord, you'll see it's worth it to be there. Thank you so much, Josh, for your donation and your support. And I totally agree. The whole administration needs to be removed. It's just corrupt and full of communism and lies and probably stinks and who knows what else. Thank you so much, RV Sarah, for your very generous donation. I really appreciate all the support. You're awesome. I've been reading your name for a long time, so I know you've been a long time supporter, and I really appreciate you. Yeah, JJ, that's what I think too. He's sitting here preparing his speech so he can come up with excuses and reasons to blame Trump for this. He's had all day. I mean, he's had all day to, to come to review it, because he doesn't read it. Everybody we watch, from random people they bring into the press briefings to Jen Psaki to Walter to random officials they have for the health stuff that they talk about. When they got Fauci up there and all them other idiots, we were just watching the Pentagon. All of these people have the really great lies that are all prepared for them, and then somewhere in the middle of the lie they say, well, let me just be clear. Every one of them. Who talks like that? No one talks like that. It's like they have the same person writing the speech for all of these people. Like, do they have Soros writing this speech? Like, who does this? It's like, it's just ridiculous. Now let me be clear. Yeah, real clear. And stammer on, do some blinking, smells like little children, then runs away from all the questions. Good Lord. Thank you so much, Donna and Joe and Nancy. Thank you guys so much for your donations and your support. I appreciate you guys being here. What's up, Tracy? Yeah, blunt conservative. Yeah, we already know. They've already said, oh, they're expecting stuff on 9/11 and blah, 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 blah. And they're going to make sure that, that happens, because they're a bunch of a-holes. What's up, Steve Pence? Maybe Walter OD'd on his fiber laxatives. We couldn't be that fortunate. All right, Spoffy, I'll be looking forward to it. Metal makes me crazy. Yeah, I agree. Old Man Walter, he's not going to say anything helpful, nothing reassuring. He's going to stammer and mumble about some stupid stuff. He's going to offend everybody that's watching. And then he's going to say, let me be clear. And then he's going to pause because he can't remember what he's supposed to say. And then he'll ramble on about some stuff. He may give us a story from 200 years ago that his, granddad told him after he rolled off his sister. And, then he'll do some blinking, start slurring his words. He'll turn his back on the press and run away as they scream questions at him that he refuses to answer. And yeah, that's what I'm expecting. That's what I got my money on right now. It's stupid. Like, how is this not abandoning post? Like, we shouldn't even have to impeach him. He's like never around. It just makes no sense. What's up, Craig? Thanks for being here. Everybody's looking for a reason. That's why we cover these lives. What's up, American 007? Yeah, that's how everyone feels, and that's why I keep telling people, join the Discord. It takes some of that pain away, because they try to make everyone feel like they're alone and you're wrong for thinking this way. Look at this old piece of shit. All right, let's see what he has to stammer about.
A tough day. This evening in Kabul, as you all know, terrorists attacked that we've been talking about, worried about, that the intelligence community has assessed, has undertaken an attack by a group known as ISIS-K. Took the lives of American service members standing guard at the airport and wounded several others seriously. He had also wounded a number of civilians, and civilians were killed as well. I've been engaged all day in constant contact with the military commanders here in Washington and the Pentagon, as well as in Afghanistan and Doha. And my commanders here in Washington in the field have been on this with great detail, and you've had a chance to speak to some so far. The situation on the ground is still evolving, and I'm constantly being updated. These American service members who gave their lives, it's an overused word, but it's totally appropriate here, were heroes. Heroes who've been engaged in a dangerous, selfless mission to save the lives of others. They're a part of an airlift, an evacuation effort unlike any seen in history, with more than 100,000 American citizens, American partners, Afghans who helped us, and others taken to safety in the last 11 days. Just in the last 12 hours or so, another 7,000 have gotten out. They were part of the bravest, most capable, the most selfless military on the face of the earth. And they're part of simply what I call the backbone of America. They're the spine of America, the best the country has to offer. Jill and I, our hearts ache, like I'm sure all of you do as well, for all those Afghan families who lost loved ones, including small children, or been wounded in this vicious attack. And we're outraged as well as heartbroken. Being the father of an Army major who served for a year in Iraq, and before that was in Kosovo as a U.S. attorney for the better part of 6 months in the middle of a war. When he came home after a year in Iraq, was diagnosed, like many, many coming home, with an aggressive and lethal cancer of the brain, who we lost. We have some sense, like many of you do, what the families of these brave heroes are feeling today. You get this feeling like you're being sucked into a black hole in the middle of your chest. There's no way out. My heart aches for you. But I know this. We have a continuing obligation, a sacred obligation to all of you, the families of those heroes. That obligation is not temporary, it lasts forever. The lives we lost today were lives given in the service of liberty, the service of security, and the service of others, in the service of America. Like their fellow brothers and sisters in arms who died defending our vision and our values in the struggle against terrorism, of the fallen this day, they're part of a great and noble company of American heroes. To those who carried out this attack, as well as anyone who wishes America harm, know this: we will not forgive. We will not forget.
We are anonymous.
Down and make you pay. I will defend our interests and our people with every measure at my command. Over the past few weeks, I know many of you are probably tired of hearing me say it, we've been made aware by our intelligence community that the ISIS-K, an arch enemy of the Taliban, people who were freed when both those prisons were opened, has been planning a complex set of attacks on the United States personnel and others. This is why, from the outset, I've repeatedly said this mission was extraordinarily dangerous, and why I've been so determined to limit the duration of this mission. As General McKenzie said, this is why our mission was designed, this is the way it was designed to operate. Operating under severe stress and attack. We've known that from the beginning. And as I've been in constant contact with our senior military leaders, and I mean constant, round the clock, and our commanders on the ground and throughout the day, they made it clear that we can and we must complete this mission, and we will. And that's what I've ordered them to do. We will not be deterred by terrorists. We will not let them stop our mission. We will continue the evacuation. I've also ordered my commanders to develop operational plans to strike ISIS-K assets, leadership, and facilities. We will respond with force and precision at our time, at the place we choose, in a moment of our choosing. Here's what you need to know. These ISIS terrorists will not win. We will rescue the Americans in there. We will get our Afghan allies out, and our mission will go on. America will not be intimidated, and I have the utmost confidence in our brave service members who continue to execute this mission with courage and honor to save lives and get Americans, our partners, our Afghan allies out of Afghanistan. Every day when I talk to our commanders, I ask them what they need. What more do they need, if anything, to get the job done? As they will tell you, I granted every request. I reiterated to them today on 3 occasions that they should take the maximum steps necessary to protect our forces on the ground in Kabul. And I also want to thank the Secretary of Defense and the military leadership of the Pentagon and all the commanders in the field. There has been complete unanimity from every commander on the objectives of this mission and the best way to achieve those objectives. Those who have served through the ages have drawn inspiration from the book of Isaiah, when the Lord says, "Whom shall I send? Who shall go for us?" The American military has been answering for a long time. "Here I am, Lord, send me. Here I am, send me." Each one of these women and men of our armed forces are the heirs of that tradition of sacrifice, of volunteering to go in harm's way, to risk everything, not for glory, not for profit, but to defend what we love and the people we love. And I ask that you join me now in a moment of silence for all those in uniform and out, uniform, military and civilian, who have given the last full measure of devotion. Thank you.
Did you just check his text messages?
May God bless you all, and may God protect his troops and all those standing watch for America. We have so much to do. It's within our capacity to do it. We just have to remain steadfast. Steadfast. We will complete our mission, and we will continue after our troops have withdrawn to find means by which we can find any American who wishes to get out of Afghanistan. We will find them and we will get them out. Ladies and gentlemen, they gave me a list here The first person I was instructed to call on was Kelly O'Donnell of NBC.
You have said leaving Afghanistan is in the national interest of the United States. After today's attack, do you believe you will authorize additional forces to respond to that attack inside Afghanistan? And are you prepared to add additional forces to protect those Americans who remain on the ground carrying out the evacuation operation?
I've instructed the military, whatever they need, if they need additional force, I will grant it. But the military, from the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, the commanders in the field, have all contacted me one way or another, usually by letter, saying they subscribe to the mission as designed to get as many people out as we can within the time frame that is allotted. That is the best way they believe to get as many Americans out as possible and others. And with regard to finding, tracking down the ISIS leaders who ordered this, we have some reason to believe we know who they are, not certain, and we will find ways for our choosing without large military operations to get them wherever they are. Trevor, Reuters.
Thank you, Mr. President. There's been some criticism, even from people in your party, about the dependence on the Taliban to secure the perimeter of the airport. Do you feel like there was a mistake made in that regard?
No, I don't. Look, I think General McKenzie handled this question very well. The fact is that we're in a situation, we inherited a situation, particularly since, as we all know, that the Afghan military collapsed 11 days before, in 11 days, that it is in the interest of, as McKenzie said, in the interest of the Taliban, that in fact ISIS-K does not metastasize beyond what it is, number one. And number two, it's in their interest that we are able to leave on time, on target. And as a consequence of that, the major things we've asked them, moving back the perimeter, giving more space between the wall, stopping vehicles from coming through, etc., searching people coming through. It is not what you'd call a tightly commanded, regimented operation like the U.S. is, the military is, but they're acting in their interest. And so, by and large, and I've asked this same question to military on the ground, whether or not it's a useful exercise. No one trusts them. We're just counting on their self-interest to continue to generate their activities. And it's in their self-interest that we leave when we said, and that we get as many people out as we can. Like I said, even in the midst of everything that happened today, over 7,000 people we've gotten out, over 5,000 Americans over. So it's not a matter of trust, it's a matter of mutual self-interest. And, but there is no evidence thus far that I've been given as a consequence by any of our commanders in the field that there has been collusion between the Taliban and ISIS in carrying out what happened today, both in front of the hotel and what is expected to continue for beyond today. Amir, Associated Press.
Thank you, Mr. President. You have spoken, again, powerfully about your own son and the weight of these decisions. With that in mind, and also what you've said, that the longer we stay, the more likelihood that there would be a major attack. How do you weigh staying even one more day, considering what's happened?
Because I think what America says matters. What we say we're going to do in the context in which we say we're going to do it, that we do it, unless something exceptional changes.
Words.
There are additional American citizens. There are additional green card holders. There are additional personnel of our allies. There are additional SIV card holders. There are additional Afghans that have helped us. And there are additional groups of individuals that have been contacted us, from women's groups to NGOs and others, who have expressly indicated they want to get out and have gathered in certain circumstances in groups, on buses and other means. That still presents the opportunity for, in the next several days between now and the 31st, to be able to get them out. And our military, and I believe, to the extent that we can do that, knowing the threat, knowing that we may very well have another attack, the military has concluded that's what we should do. I think they're right. I think they're correct. And after that, we're going to be in a circumstance where will be, I believe, numerous opportunities to continue to provide access for additional persons to get out of Afghanistan, either through means that we provide and or are provided through in cooperation with the Taliban. They're not good guys, the Taliban. We're not suggesting that at all. But they have keen interest. As many of you have been reporting, they very much would like to figure out how to keep the airport open. They don't have the capacity to do it. They very much are trying to figure out whether or not they can maintain what is the portion of an economy that has become not robust, but fundamentally different than it had been. And so there's a lot of reasons why they have reached out, not just to us, but to others, as to why it would be continued in their interest to get more of the personnel we want to get out. We can locate them. Now, there's not many left that we can assess that want to come out. There's some Americans we've identified, we've contacted the vast majority of them, not all of them, who don't want to leave because they're dual nationals, they have extended families, et cetera. And there's others who are looking for the time. So that's why we continue. I'll take a few more questions, but you, sir.
I wanted to ask you,
that's okay.
You say that what America says matters. What do you say to the Afghans who helped troops who may not be able to get out by August 31st?
I say we're going to continue to try to get you out. It matters. Look, I know of no conflict, as a student of history, no conflict where when a war was ending, one side was able to guarantee that everyone they wanted to be extracted from that country would get out. And think about it, folks. I think it's important. I know the American people get this in their gut. There are, I would argue, millions of Afghani citizens who are not Taliban, who did not actively cooperate with us as SIVs, who, if given a chance, they'd be on board a plane tomorrow. It sounds ridiculous, but the vast majority of people in communities like that want to come to America, given a choice. So getting every single person out can't be guaranteed by anybody, because there's a determination all who wants to get out as well. At any rate, it's a process. I was really pointing to you, but you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. There are reports that U.S. officials provided the Taliban with names of Americans and Afghan officials to evacuate. Were you aware of that? Did that happen? And then, sir, did you personally reject a recommendation to hold or to recapture Bagram Air Force Base?
Here's what I've done let's answer the last question first. On the tactical questions of how to conduct an evacuation or a war, I gather up all the major military personnel that are in Afghanistan, the commanders, as well as the Pentagon. And I ask for their best military judgment. What would be the most efficient way to accomplish the mission? They concluded, the military, that Bagram was not much value added, that it was much wiser to focus on Kabul. And so I followed that recommendation. With regard to, there are certain circumstances where we've gotten information, and quite frankly, sometimes from some of you, saying you know of such and such a group of people are trying to get out, and they're on a bus, they're moving from other people. And this is their location. And there have been occasions when our military has contacted their military counterparts in the Taliban and said, this, for example, this bus is coming through with X number of people on it, made up of following group of people. We want you to let that bus or that group through. So yes, there have been occasions like that. And to the best of my knowledge, in those cases, the bulk of that has occurred, they've been let through. But I can't tell you with any certitude that there's actually been a list of names. I know there may have been, but I know of no circumstance. It doesn't mean it didn't exist. That here's the names of 12 people, they're coming, let them through. It could very well have happened. I'll take one more question. Wait.
This guy's an idiot.
From the most interesting guy that I know in the press.
You gonna take my question?
That's you.
Yeah, it's me.
Mr. President, there had not been a U.S. service member killed in combat in Afghanistan since February of 2020. You set a deadline, you pulled troops out, you sent troops back in, and now 12 Marines are dead. You said the buck stops with you. Do you bear any responsibility for the way that things have unfolded in the last 2 weeks?
I bear responsibility for fundamentally all that's happened of late. But here's the deal. You know, I wish you'd one day say these things. You know as well as I do that the former president made a deal with the Taliban that he would get all American forces out of Afghanistan by May 1. In return, the commitment was made, and that was a year before. In return, he was given a commitment that the Taliban would continue to attack others, but would not attack any American forces. Remember that? I'm being serious. No, I'm asking you a question. Because before... No, wait a minute. I'm asking you a question. Is that accurate, to the best of your knowledge? What?
I don't think that the issue that, do you think that people have an issue with pulling out of Afghanistan or just the way that things have happened?
I think they have an issue that people are likely to get hurt. Some, as we've seen, have gotten killed, and that it is messy. The reason why, whether my friend will acknowledge it always reported it. The reason why there were no attacks on Americans, as you said, from the date until I came into office, was because the commitment was made by President Trump, I will be out by May 1st. In the meantime, you agree not to attack any Americans. That was the deal. That's why no American was attacked.
So it's your fault. That's what you're saying? It's your fault? We know that.
Because look at it this way, folks. And I have another meeting for real. But imagine where we'd be if I had indicated on May the 1st I was not going to renegotiate an evacuation date. We were going to stay there. I'd have only one alternative: pour thousands of more troops back into Afghanistan to fight a war that we had already won relative to the reason we went in the first place. I have never been of the view that we should be sacrificing American lives to try to establish a democratic government in Afghanistan, a country that has never once in its entire history been a united country and is made up, I don't mean this in a derogatory, made up of different tribes who have never, ever, ever gotten along with one another. And so, as I said before, and this is the last comment I'll make, we'll have more chance to talk about this, unfortunately, beyond, because we're not out yet. If Osama bin Laden, as well as al-Qaeda, had chosen to launch an attack when they left Saudi Arabia out of Yemen, would we have ever gone to Afghanistan? Even though the Taliban completely controlled Afghanistan at the time, would we have ever gone? I know it's not fair to ask you questions, it's rhetorical, but raise your hand if you think we should have gone and given up thousands of lives and tens of thousands of wounded. Our interest in going was to prevent al-Qaeda from reemerging, first to get bin Laden, wipe out al-Qaeda in Afghanistan, prevent that from happening again. As I've said 100 times, terrorism is metastasized around the world. We have greater threats coming out of other countries, a heck of a lot closer to the United States. We don't have military encampments there. We don't keep people there. We have over-the-horizon capability to keep them from going after us. Ladies and gentlemen, it was time to end a 20-year war. Thank you so much.
Will you recognize the Taliban as the government?
Do us a favor and fall up the stairs again one last time. Just a moment. What an idiot. I think we got everything I pretty much listed, other than let me be clear. I don't think we got one of those, or maybe I'm desensitized to it at this point. I just didn't hear it. What an idiot. He's like, well, there's never been a time where a promise has ever been made that everyone would be evacuated. Yeah, 3 days ago. Like, so stupid. Then he basically admitted it was his fault. He's like, well, Trump made a deal, but it was only until I came into office, and then I let this happen, so what an idiot. The biggest thing that I caught, he said that they're counting on the Taliban's self-interest to continue doing what they're doing. That's how they're using them. They don't trust them. They trust the fact that they're going to keep pursuing their goal. Taking over the country? That's like working with terrorism. What a fucking idiot. Like, just... My goodness, is it go time? These people are freaking ridiculous. I can't even believe that these people are running the country right now. How is it that these few idiots are out here telling us all how we're supposed to feel? Everybody's pissed off. I don't know anybody that's not pissed off at this point. My phone's been lighting up the whole time we've been live. And we got these few people just making us look shameful. Like, how does this person speak for all of us? Because I don't know anybody at once with what's going on. Good Lord. I don't even know what else to say. I'm going to end up getting my channel deleted and have an FBI knock on my door. These people are just trash. Trash panda. Who's ready for Trump to come back? Is anybody ready for that? Good Lord. Can we just have another election already? I'm pretty sure Canada's doing that. They're holding an election early. Maybe we should do that too. It's just ridiculous. So let's get some shout outs in. Really appreciate all of you being here. I've never had a situation where I couldn't slow the chat down. I think the chat's like at 95 seconds or something before your post actually reaches the chat. And it's still moving so fast. Never had a situation like that. We've had 20,000 people in the chat at one time during a MAGA Million march, and I still didn't have to turn up the slow chat that much. That's how I know everybody feels a certain kind of way about what's going on. It's unreal. So let's check this out. Thank you so much, Paula, Josh, RV, Sarah, Donna, Jancy, Marlene, Purple Nerp, the Lorax, Chris U, Shugo, Adriana, Rage Star, Gavin, and Soloso. Thank you guys so much for your donations and your support. I really appreciate all of you. You guys are awesome. Thank you all for being here. I know it's hard to watch and pay attention to this idiot get up there and lie to us and tell us how we're supposed to feel and how sorry he is, and then have him big grinning at all the reporters like a freaking skinwalker. Just monster of a human being, him and his whole administration. But we have to keep our eyes on what's happening here. These people are supposedly in charge. They're always dropping little secret truths here and there in between words. You know what they say about your friends and your enemies. So we have to keep our eyes open. People tell me the whole time we're live, oh, I can't listen anymore. I got to leave. And I understand. And I appreciate you guys dropping in, even if it's just to show support and to dip out. But we have to keep our eyes on these people. You don't turn your back on a snake, and these people are snakes. Just no question about it. We're not going to know what's coming if we don't watch this stuff. I know it's upsetting and it's hard to watch, but we have to. This is also reasons why we have to go out there and take our flag for a walk. We got to let people know what time it is. This is trash. This is trash. And we can't act like this is how all of us feel. And it really pisses me off for him to try and read quotes out of the Bible. He doesn't use the same Bible we use. Can't even say anymore because I'm going to say some stuff and I'll be on the damn list. I think everybody feels the same way. And I'm glad you all are here with me while we go through this together, because we are all in this together. And that's just all there is to it. So big shout out to everyone that made donations, joined the membership program, or purchased any merch. I really appreciate all of you. Let me see if we have any new members that I forgot to shout out. My list is very long here because you guys are just so amazing, showing your support and making sure that we're able to do this every day. Let's see. Thank you so much. Tom Brady is based. And I think we have another one. And Adriana for joining the membership program, and welcome to the family. You're officially hooligans. So like I was saying, I appreciate all you guys. Big shout out to everyone showing support. We would not be able to do this without you. You are keeping the show going. Thank you so much. Please subscribe or follow on whatever platform you are currently watching on. We try to go live every single day, and we try to keep the truth moving. The more of you that subscribe and follow, the bigger the channels get on whatever platform you are watching, and it draws in more people who really should see what's actually going on around here. Also, join the Discord. The Discord is a free app you download on your phone. You come to any of my platforms where I'm live, or you check out the link tree, find the link that takes you straight to the server, follow the few simple steps, You'll be greeted with an automated message letting you know that you've done all you need to do in order to receive notifications for when and where we go live. And also, we have great conversation going on 24 hours a day. There's just so much information pouring in, news articles, video clips, screenshots, articles. Lately, I've been grabbing documents from like government websites and posting them and stuff. I get stuff from the CDC. I get stuff from federal websites, and we post the documents. I mean, you can see that the papers have already been submitted for Biden to be impeached. All that stuff. We try to keep up to date on everything going on. So if you want to be frontline with what's actually happening around us, not just here in America, but also what's going on in Australia and everywhere, we're keeping an eye on the whole world, because whatever's happening over there is eventually going to come over here, and we're next. There's just no doubt about it. If you see the way that these evil people are talking to us, we are next. We need to keep our eyes open. We need to stay smart with what's happening. So, yeah. Oh, somebody's saying something about Jen. Oh, I forgot. Jen Balsaki's supposed to be talking. Let me check this really quick before we cut this off, because if she's actually going to show up, we might just run right into it. So just a moment. I mean, I guess it says she was supposed to start speaking 15 minutes ago. All right, guys, we're gonna sit here and watch it. So give me a second. Let me set this up. I'm glad someone mentioned that. We'll hear what these lies are. I don't even know what she could say after all that stupid stuff. Just a moment. Thank you, Soil Tender, Stevie O, and M Rank for your donations and your support. And thank you, M Rank, for joining the membership program, as well as Jeff Downhauser. I appreciate you guys. I'm sorry I'm all rattled. I've had 17 cups of coffee, and now we're dealing with this crap. Thank you guys so much for joining the membership program, and welcome to the family. You're officially hooligans. So, yep, Jen Balsacki was supposed to go live 18 minutes ago. We'll give her a little bit of time to see if she actually pops up on the screen, and we'll go from there. Let's make sure the music is rolling. All right, I'm going to lower the slow chat so our chat moves a little bit more smooth. If you haven't already hit the like button, please hit the like button. By hitting the like button, especially if a bunch of you do it all at the same time, it'll trigger the algorithm telling new viewers that they should watch what we have going on. So please take a second to hit that like button. I'm going to make some changes to the slow chat and get everything rolling a little bit smoother, and then I'm going to check out all the other 4 chat rooms that we have rolling, make sure I didn't miss anyone. Thank you, VH and the Charger Fam for life. I really appreciate the donations and the support. And thank you, Jane, for joining the membership program, and welcome to the family. You're officially a hooligan. I feel the same way, man. I'd be live 24 hours a day if I could. All I want to do is hang out with the hooligans, especially with everything that's going on now. Believe it or not, I find more information while that's not live than what is live. So the whole time I'm not live, it's not like I'm just sitting here staring at a TV and eating junk food. I'm reading news articles and going through stuff and talking with all the hooligans in the Discord and constantly posting stuff. If you follow me on Twitter, you probably see, like, I'll go from not posting to posting 13, 14 tweets all in a row with information and stuff that's very relevant to everything we talk about in the Discord and all the stuff that we see on the live. It's nonstop. I'm like going 24 hours a day reading news. I mean, this last week or two, I've probably only slept at most maybe 5 hours in a day. And most of the time I'm sleeping, like, I think last night I only slept 3 hours. And it's just eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff. Oh, here we go.
And you might have just heard we have a 2-minute warning to the press briefing, but I will add, I had a chance to ask the president if he still squarely stands by his decision to pull out. He said he does, right?
I don't know why they just dropped his audio. I didn't do that. They did that. Yeah, I think they cut his audio off.
Thank you.
Yeah, Steve Pence, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, oh, there's Peter. Jen Psaki, she hates Peter. Because he asks all the questions that we're all thinking. That's why when he spoke to Walter Biden, Biden asked him a question, and from that point on, they wouldn't put that microphone in front of Peter's face because they know he'll keep it going. He'll give them the old razzle dazzle, get them all worked up, and he'll start seizing up. They have to bring out a team of people to come help Walter off the stage. Hey, thanks for being here, Mike D. It's difficult. It's difficult to unplug from all of this. I see it everywhere I go. I live in communist Michigan. There's still like mask signs on the door, even though there's no mandate. I don't know who was all here for when I had mentioned it earlier, but we had information that DHS is going to work with health officials to try and take kids away from people that don't get the jab.
General McKenzie today, as well as the president, but obviously I wanted to provide the opportunity to answer additional questions from all of you. Just one thing to note at the top, as a mark for respect, starting today, the United States flag will be flown at half-staff at the White House and upon all public buildings and grounds, at all military posts and naval stations, and on all naval vessels of the federal government in the District of Columbia and throughout the United States and its territories, and possessions until sunset on August 30th, 2021, in honor of the victims of the senseless acts of violence in Kabul, Afghanistan. With that, Amr.
Thanks. Just a few minutes ago, one of my colleagues asked a question about what the president would say to Afghans who fear they won't get to leave. Was the president said getting every single person out can't be guaranteed of anybody. Was he lowering expectations for smaller but still significant population that's trying to get out, that's still there?
That wasn't his intention, Amr. I think what he was conveying is that at a time where the Taliban is taking over the country, certainly not our preference, as you all know well, it is not going to be possible for every single Afghan, millions potentially, who want to leave Afghanistan to be evacuated. At the same time, I think you also heard the president make clear that there is not an end to our commitment to getting American citizens out, who are not ready to leave, and to getting partners out and those who have served alongside the United States over the last 20 years.
And just real quick, on the Taliban, they are in charge of the perimeter. For the suicide bomber to get in, they would presumably have to get beyond a Taliban guard. So why isn't the Taliban in part responsible for what happened today?
Well, I think General McKenzie addressed this earlier this afternoon, and he made clear, and I understand your question is slightly different from that, but I think it's worth repeating and important to repeat, that we don't have any information at this point in time, and that has not changed over the last couple of hours to suggest that the Taliban had knowledge of or was engaged in or involved in this attack. Obviously, what happened today and the loss of lives of U.S. service members, of Afghans, is a tragedy, is horrific, is one of the worst things, if not the worst thing, we have experienced during President Biden's time in office. But again, we don't have any additional assessment at this point in time. Go ahead.
Just a few things, Jen, to clarify. Thank you. He talked about the ongoing mission to get people out after the 31st. But to be clear, as of tonight, is it still the plan to get all U.S. forces out by August 31st?
Nothing has changed on that timeline.
Okay. Did the president, based on his public comments over the last few days, did the president see this coming?
Well, I think what you have seen the president say, and many members of our military and our national security team say, is that we have been closely watching and assessing the threat of ISIS-K, and that we have had increasing concern about that threat growing over the last couple of days. So this has been a concern that we have been watching, and we saw, of course, the tragic events happen today.
And what does today's attack say about the U.S.'s ability to keep the terrorist threat in check once the U.S. pulls off military forces out of Afghanistan? Because this is something he talked about in early July when he reiterated what the plan was.
You're right, and I appreciate that question. I think it's important for people to know and understand that the threat that is posed by having thousands of U.S. military on the ground, still currently on the ground, implementing a mission, committed to a mission, as you heard General McKenzie and the President also say, that is a threat. They are a target. People gathering around the airport, that is a threat, that is a target. But ISIS's ability to target individuals who are on the ground in Afghanistan is very different from ISIS's ability to attack the United States and attack the homeland. And we will maintain and continue over the horizon capacity with presence and partnership with countries in the region to ensure that they don't develop that ability.
Do you know yet if he would go to Dover to greet the caskets of those that were killed?
I'm certain the president will do everything he can to honor the sacrifice and the service of the lives who were lost today. I will note you didn't ask this question, but some others have asked it, and he didn't have the opportunity to ask it. So let me provide or answer it to provide you an update on. I know some have asked about whether he's called the family members, and for those of you who have covered this, you know the process. But for those of you who have not, or people who are watching at home, the process would first go through the Pentagon. There is a next of kin notification process. I know General McKenzie spoke to this earlier today. That is the process that is still underway at this point in time. Until that process concludes, the president would not make a call because that's the first step in the process. And then in terms of additional steps such as Dover, of course, he would consider and want to be a part of any means of honoring the lives that were lost today. Go ahead.
Thank you, Jen. General McKenzie described this, one of the explosions at the Abbey Gate happening at a point after someone had been searched by the Taliban. How is the United States still going to work with the Taliban the way that the president is describing, or just did in his remarks, to get American citizens and Afghan allies out if that is what we're working with?
Look, I'm not trying to sugarcoat what we think of the Taliban. The Taliban they're not a group we trust. They are not our friends. We have never said that. It is also the reality that the Taliban controls large swaths of Afghanistan. And to date, because of coordination with the Taliban, we've been able to evacuate more than 104,000 people, save 104,000 lives. And that coordination is necessary in order to continue our evacuation measures. Now, I understand your question, Peter, and the questions of others on what they knew or what their role was. There's no assessment we have at this point in time of their involvement in this. Obviously, that's at this time. If that changes, we will let you all know.
And does the president really think that they are going to be reliable partners if we're already getting reports that they're not letting Afghans to the airport, and the U.S. is still at the airport?
Well, I think you mean after the 31st or moving over the next couple of days?
Well, we've heard that it's already happening. So does he think that's going to get
Well,
better?
I note also that, as the president just said, more than 7,000 people have been evacuated over the course of the last 12 hours. That is while there was an active attacks that were happening. Those are individuals who were let through gates, who were let onto planes, and got us well over 100,000 people who have been evacuated. Again, this is not about trust. This is not about relying on the Taliban as an equal partner partner. No one is suggesting that. But because they control large swaths of the country, including a lot of the security perimeters around the airport, we have to coordinate with them in order to get people out. We'll continue to do that. Go ahead. But so one more thing I would say is that we have an enormous amount of leverage. This is our view over time. That includes economic leverage. It includes leverage that we will make clear to the Taliban as it relates to coordination, continue to get American citizens and our partners out. Go ahead.
Jen, there have been reports of explosions happening throughout the afternoon in Kabul, or evening now, obviously. And some reporting to indicate that this is the beginning of a process of the U.S. military beginning to destroy equipment on the ground. Can you confirm that that's what's taking place?
I would refer you to the U.S. military on specific steps of their retrograde process, which, as we know, would have to take place in advance of a departure.
And then in terms of what we've heard from the Pentagon, and then the president just articulated, which is his confidence that they have enough troops on the ground at this point to continue to facilitate the mission. I guess the question is, how can that be the case given what we saw today, the tragic loss of life? Doesn't that call for additional troop levels potentially needed, reinforcements needed on the ground? And additionally, what is the concern for the ongoing threat that ISIS-K continues to pose to these efforts?
There is an ongoing threat. And every day that our troops are on the ground, they are at risk. And that's a reality. And as you saw the Pentagon brief out earlier today, these were attacks that we had obviously had intelligence in terms of over the last several days of our rising concerns. But I will tell you that as it relates to your first question, Mike, I've been sitting in these meetings as well, and every single meeting the president asks the Pentagon, nearly every meeting before they conclude, is there anything else you need to conclude your mission? Do you need equipment? Do you need troops? Do you need resources? He's asked them that again today as it relates to completing their mission over the next coming days and going after the individuals, the terrorists who killed service members today as well. Go ahead.
Thank you, Jen. You just noted you were in some of these meetings today. Was there ever a point where the president was reconsidering this deadline of having all U.S. forces out by August 31st?
No, and here's why. The president relies on the advice of his military commanders, and they continue to believe that it is essential to get out by the 31st. That is their advice. And there are several reasons for that. One is the ongoing threats. And the second is that we want to be able to have the ability to get individuals out who have been partners of ours after the 31st. And they believe the best way to do that is to stay on that timeline at this point in time.
And does the White House still anticipate that those flights of mass evacuations will end before the actual 31st?
I'm not going to get into an operational timeline of when the last evacuation flight will be, and I don't expect the Department of Defense will do that either. We will let you know, as we have twice a day, as we have updated numbers.
One more question. Is there an alternative plan being discussed for how to get these people who are seeking to leave to the airport, given it is potentially perilous to go and wait outside the gates right now to get in?
There are a range of operations and operational approaches that our commanders and military on the ground have been utilizing over the course of several days, if not more. I'm not going to outline those from here, but that is why they're in touch with American citizens, why they're in touch with partners we're working to evacuate, to get them safely to the airport and evacuated at the appropriate time. Go ahead.
Is it your opinion that the president has the authority he needs from Congress or wherever else to continue operations beyond August 31st? He kind of talked about pursuing ISIS-K wherever, whenever he needs to. Is there any expectation that he'll need any additional authority to do so?
I don't believe there's an expectation of additional authority needed.
And what about for military commanders on the ground? Will they need to come back in order to conduct counterterrorism operations, in order to do anything of the sort?
Well, again, as the president just said in his remarks a little while ago, he's asked them to draw up plans. The president I don't think he could have been more clear about the fact that he believes we will not forgive, we will not forget, and we will hunt down these terrorists and kill them wherever they are. He's asked them to draw up plans. Whatever they need for those plans, he is committed to delivering on, but I don't have anything to outline for you today on that.
And is it possible to do that with no military troops, no military bases in the surrounding countries around Afghanistan?
Again, I would note for you, Trevor, as you know, you've covered these issues quite closely. We have a range of counterterrorism capacities in a number of countries around the world where we don't have military bases. Obviously, I'm not going to outline what their approach would be from the military. I will leave that to them them to take, and leave it to them to outline anything on their timeline. Go ahead.
Jen, you mentioned about the increasing concerns about this terror threat. The president just 2 days ago said each day of operations brings added risk to our troops. Today we saw the deadly consequences of that. If the risk grows tomorrow and keeps growing the next day and beyond that, how should Americans feel about this operation continuing right now for the coming days?
Well, I would say first, you heard General McKenzie convey clearly that they had every intention of continuing this evacuation mission over the coming days, and that they plan for incidents of these kind. I mean, to the degree that they can. They have every intention to continue. The president has regular consultations every day, multiple times a day on days like this, about how they see the circumstance on the ground. But that is our expectation at this point in time, that it will absolutely continue over the coming days.
And can you give us some details about how the president spent his day? He was scheduled to get briefed in the 9 o'clock hour by his national security team, and that's when the first reports were coming in of this. Walk us through what he did over those coming hours, just some color behind the scenes today.
Sure. For people who are watching, color means additional details of what he was up to. I will say, Karen, that the initial reports of the attacks came in as members of his national security team were gathering in the Situation Room for a regular meeting with the president. So they were just gathering and sitting down. So those and gathering in the room, those initial reports came in at that time. As the president arrived in the Situation Room, one of the first updates he received, of course, was about the attacks on the ground in Kabul. This was a developing situation, as it has been through the course of the day, and through the course of his briefing with his national security team this morning. His commanders on the ground also and in the region gave regular updates as they learned more information. Once he left the Situation Room, those updates proceeded through the course of the day. He's been in constant contact with his national security advisor, his Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, and military commanders, both here and in the region, throughout the course of the day, receiving updates on what's happening on the ground.
Was there ever a second meeting of that entire national security team with the president in the sit room again?
No, this was just regular ongoing contact with members of his national security team through the course of the day.
Just to clarify, since you said you were with him, how was he? How was his mood? How was he in dealing with with the incoming information? How was he in asking the questions of military commanders, etc.?
Well, I would say that anyone who's watched the president up close, which is most of you, knows that the putting the lives of servicemen and women at risk, and those decisions that you have to make as commander-in-chief, weigh heavily on him. And as I noted a few minutes ago, any day where you lose service members is maybe the worst day of your presidency, and hopefully there's not more. But we are certainly early in the presidency at this point in time. So I would say, he was somber, and as he said today, outraged at these terrorists taking the lives of service members. And he wanted to make clear to the public, he wanted to have all the information that he could before he spoke to the American people, so he could convey exactly what we knew at the point in time where he addressed the public. And he has wanted very detailed updates of exactly what we know about what is happening on the ground. And that is why he's been in constant contact with members of his national security team.
Sorry, just quickly, can you confirm the reports that it is now 13 U.S. service members who have died?
I would leave that to the Department of Defense to confirm any additional casualties. Go ahead.
Thanks, Jen. You talked about the ongoing threats earlier. We heard from General McKenzie talking about, this, quote, extremely active threat streams. But how would you sum up right now the level of confidence that the administration has that there won't be another attack like this before the completion of this evacuation mission?
I can't give you that assessment. As I think our national security team has said, members of our national security team, these are ongoing threats. We are watching them closely, but I can't give you that assessment from here. Go ahead.
Can you speak a little bit to what the impact on flights has been? You've been touting U.S. and coalition flights, but this attack has slowed some of those flights from coalition partners. Other countries are now out. Does this restrict bandwidth that you thought you would have for the next 5 days to get people out? Are fewer Americans and Afghan allies, SIVs, et cetera, going to get out because of this attack?
It's a good question, Josh, and one of the reasons we put out the numbers twice a day is because we want you all to have an understanding of how many people were able to get out. I would note that more than 7,000 people were evacuated over the last 12 hours. Those include members from coalition partners, and we're working now, and this is one of the pieces the president's been focused on, is getting as many people out and onto these planes as possible, even as we're working to address these security threats on the ground. But I don't want to give you a prediction because our U.S. military is incredible, and they are working even while they are facing these security threats to continue the evacuation mission.
What do you believe to be the case at the airport now, I suppose, not particularly at this hour, given the time would be there? Can Americans go? Should Americans go? Are Afghan SIVs getting through Taliban checkpoints and to the airport? Are you still discouraging them from doing that? What is the situation on the ground in that perimeter?
Again, Josh, I would say that we are giving very specific direction to individuals, American citizens and others, on when they should come to the airport, where they should meet, how they should come to the airport. We're obviously not going to outline or detail those from here or in any public manner, but that is certainly the direction we would be giving to people, to pay attention to the security alerts and to pay attention to notifications and contacts they're receiving from us or coalition partners.
I'm sorry, just to clarify, there were warnings that led up to this attack. Other countries have been warning, the administration has been warning this is a dangerous situation, etc. Can you speak to whether there was specific indications that this was being planned, and if so, do you have specific indications that other ones are being planned now?
I'm not going to get into specific intelligence, but I will tell you and confirm for you that the threat is ongoing, and we are continuing to watch and assess the threat. Go ahead.
Thanks, Jen. President Biden has spoken a lot about the need to end the forever wars. How do you end the forever wars in Afghanistan if you are still, or if the United States is still continuing to attack ISIS-K?
Well, first I would say this is a specific case today where 12 individual service members and 15 who were wounded today. And certainly I would expect any president of the United States would be clear that he will avenge those deaths and the acts of terrorists. And I don't think that came as a surprise to anyone. But the president stands by, as he outlined to all of you just in the last hour, his commitment to bringing an end to this war, as he has implemented over the course of the last month. And what we're talking about here is avenging these deaths from terrorists. We're not talking about sending tens of thousands of troops back for an endless war that we've been fighting for 20 years.
If I may ask a bit of a related question to Josh. When the Obama administration was bringing in Syrian refugees, there was a lot of pushback from various states and locales about refugees coming into their communities. How do you see that situation this time around? Is this going to be different, or do you anticipate those same kind of pushback and hard feelings?
We will see. But I will tell you that what we have been working to do is to work closely with governors, with localities, with local leaders, to give them detailed briefings on what our vetting process looks like, what the background check process looks like before any individual comes into the United States. And that is a background check process that's thorough before they are allowed to come in and step on U.S. soil. We also know that there are some people in this country, even some in Congress, who may not want to have people from another country come as refugees to the United States. That's a reality. We can't stop or prevent that on our own, but we are going to continue to communicate our intensive vetting process, and we've been working hard to do that behind the scenes, and we're going to continue to convey clearly that this is also part of who we are and part of the fabric of the United States, and not back away from that. Go ahead.
Thanks, Jen. There is an American that's been detained by the Taliban since last year. His name's Mark Freerichs, and I'm wondering if the administration has been in negotiations to release him as part of these broader negotiations with the Taliban.
We certainly raise his case in every opportunity, and it has certainly been raised, but I don't have any update on that case.
And then you've said that there's a threat for these remaining days that U.S. troops are in Kabul. Are there any additional precautions that are being taken to protect these troops? Obviously, you're not going to send in additional troops, but are there any sort of other precautions that are being taken?
I don't think I'm going to get into operational details of what is happening on the ground. Certainly, there are steps taken to protect our troops on the ground by the commanders who are leading the efforts on the ground. Go ahead in the middle. Oh, go ahead.
Thank you, Jen. Just last week, the president said the following. We made it clear to the Taliban that any attack on our forces or disruption of operations at the airport will be met with swift and forceful response. Was this an attack? Were our forces targeted? Was this at the airport? Were our operations disrupted? And if indeed it was, would this qualify as a swift and forceful response?
I think the president just addressed exactly that when he said, "We will not forgive, we will not forget, and we will hunt you down." When he spoke just an hour ago.
Bombers, people who live so that they can kill themselves.
He was referring to the attack of terrorists from ISIS-K who launched this attack and killed U.S. service members. I don't think he.
Going after them regardless of whether they attack service members.
I don't think he could have been more clear. Go ahead.
Yes, Jen. At least 67 House Democrats now have signed on to a letter asking the president to raise the refugee cap in fiscal year 2022 to at least 200,000. I think you're looking at about 125,000 right now. Is that something that the White House is willing to accept?
I have not talked to the president about this specific question. What I will tell you is that what we are trying to do is get our muscles working again, both in our systems and the incredible refugee groups that are working on welcoming refugees from around the country and working on getting our vetting processes and systems around the world that need to be in good shape in order to welcome refugees, to get as many as we can. But I have not had a conversation with him about raising the cap beyond the 125. As you said, I'm happy to do that. Go ahead, Eli.
Given that Kabul has been the only departure point in the country, I wonder if the administration knows how many of the American citizens left, the green card holders, SIVs, that are in the country still are outside of Kabul, and if there have been or may be in the future efforts to go out and rescue people from those more far-flung places.
Yes, on your latter question, I'm not going to get into more details and will continue to be. On your former question, the vast majority are within the Kabul vicinity, but as the State Department provided an update a little bit earlier today, but I know there's been a lot happening today, so let me just reiterate a couple of these numbers. Of the 1,500 that they briefed on yesterday, roughly 500 have been evacuated, and so we're talking about roughly an additional 1,000 that we believe remain in Afghanistan. The vast majority, over 2/3, informed us they were taking steps to leave, and we are in touch with. That is what we are working through and what we are focused on every single day.
So just to be clear, you're saying that those missions, even if you have to be vague about it, they have taken place at times?
I'm not confirming if they have or haven't. I'm just going to convey to you, I'll leave that to the Department of Defense. What I will tell you is that we are committed to getting American citizens home and out of Afghanistan should they want to leave. And that includes people around the country. Go ahead.
Thanks, Jen. Earlier today, General McKenzie said that right now they are focused on other active threats to U.S. service members there on the ground. Are all the threats the U.S. is currently facing from ISIS-K? Are there other groups that may be bad actors?
I'm just not going to detail additional information about it.
Do you have any information?
And do we know if the president still feels as though the chaos and the violence that we've seen there on the ground in Kabul was all unavoidable, even at this point?
You mean from about 11 days ago?
Yes.
Well, I would say, I've spoken to this a few times. If we go back to 11 days ago, if that is your specific question, we certainly didn't anticipate that the leadership, the Afghan government, would leave in the manner or would topple in the manner and the timeline that they did, or that the Afghan National Security Forces would cease to protect the airport and parts of Kabul. That is not what we anticipated in that timeline. That is true. What I will say and reiterate again is that within 24 to 48 hours, we had secured the airport, and since then we've evacuated more than 104,000 people. Go ahead.
How would you describe the relationship right now with the Taliban in light of the attack, and are they still helping out with security, or what's their relationship right now?
Again, this is not a friendship or a relationship where there is trust. It's based on trust, but we are continuing to coordinate to move American citizens, to move Afghan partners and our allies out. And the fact that we have evacuated 7,000 people in the last 12 or 13 hours now is evidence of that. Go ahead.
Thanks, Jen. So 2 Republican senators so far have called on the president to resign over the attacks in Afghanistan today. What's the White House's response to that?
I would say first, this is a day where U.S. service members, 12 of them, lost their lives at the hands of terrorists. It's not a day for politics, and we would expect that any American, whether they're elected or not, would stand with us in our commitment to going after and fighting and killing those terrorists wherever they live, and to honoring the memory of service members, and that's what this day is for. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you. Yesterday, when I was leaving the White House, I spoke to a group of men at the White House gate who said that they were service members here in America in our armed forces, various branches. They had their photos on posters, and they are seeking help for their families. We've prioritized which groups we are helping, namely those who have helped us in the mission, but they are not, they're currently in military, but they are not people who fit the description or the criteria for getting assistance. However, in our interview, they told me that they are getting assistance. Can you speak to this prioritization and who really is eligible to get assistance going forward, considering what happened today? I know you've already spoken to it, but can you drill down a little bit to make sure people know who we are allowing into the country at this point?
I'm not sure that I totally understand your question, but let me do my best. American citizens, which I assume these U.S. service members are.
They serve here in our country. They're from Afghanistan, and they have family members there. So they said they went to the State Department, and the State Department was helping them get their family members in, and they wanted to get attention so that other people in their situation could get their family members in. And they didn't seem to fit the criteria, so I'm just asking you to clarify.
Are you concerned that we're helping the family members of people who have fought by our side for 20 years, helping them come to the country once they've been through a thorough vetting process, or what's the root of your question?
No, the root of my question is consistent information for those who need help. So I've been doing some reporting around people getting correct information about the process. So I want to be able to say in my reporting, if you meet these qualifications, you are the folks who can come into the country. And I think a lot of people want to know that information. Does that make sense?
I think we've been very clear, Mona, that U.S. citizens, their family members, some of those are dual nationals. Many of them who are left are dual nationals. Some of them may have lived their whole lives in Afghanistan. Immediate family members, that means spouses and children. It also means SIV applicants and others who might be eligible for a range of the programs we have, and vulnerable populations. That does have a broad range of meanings because there are a lot of people who are vulnerable in Afghanistan, and we're going to work to get as many of those people out as we can. There's a range of programs. If individuals have questions, information is available on the State Department website and the Department of Defense website. Go ahead.
Thank you. Over 65 Democrats in Congress are calling on Biden to raise the refugee cap to at least 200,000.
I think I just answered this question.
Sorry.
Okay.
And then the president had cited intelligence data earlier in the speech that ISIS-K had been planning attacks on U.S. personnel for quite some time, and that was in part why he was trying to get everyone evacuated by August 31st. But if that was the case, then why did the administration make the decision in late July to not do more rapid early evacuations on military aircraft?
Well, first I would say that we have, over the course of the last 11 days, evacuated more than 100,000 people. And that is a credit to the U.S. military and the men and women who are serving, who have been able to conduct and oversee this operation and done it at great risk. And that was an operation that began, again, just 2 weeks ago. Before that time, we'd also evacuated a number of people. I can't speak to what the difference of the ISIS threat would have been, but obviously that has been increasing over time, which we have spoken quite publicly about. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Despite the lack of true trust that you and the President and everyone is highlighting in this relationship with the Taliban, which is understandable, having said that, there's been a remarkable level of cooperation. I mean, something no one would ever possibly have imagined, whatever, even a month ago. And as the President was saying, it's actually ongoing now, despite the incident. They're, kind of helping try and deal with this. Given that, after the 31st, is it actually conceivable that there could be some kind of longer-term relationship on the mutual interests that the President talks about, security, humanitarian aid, and whether you call it recognition or not, you're basically working alongside the Taliban authorities in Afghanistan long-term?
Well, I would say first that we will continue to work to get people out of Afghanistan even after the 31st, and we will need to coordinate with the Taliban in order to do that. I'm not going to label that a partnership or anything other than continued coordination. And we, again, believe we have a great deal of leverage in order to implement that commitment.
On other issues, beyond the evacuations, let's say that gets done, hopefully it is done. But there's going to be all sorts of other things. There's going to be the security, the terrorism, from their point of view, the humanitarian aid. Could you see this kind of mutual interests agenda continuing with them?
I don't want to get ahead of where we are. Obviously, we are committed to continuing to deliver humanitarian assistance to the people of Afghanistan. There are a range of international partners who are committed to doing the same thing. The United Nations also will continue to have a presence on the ground, which will be a mechanism for delivering a great deal of that assistance. And I would just reiterate again, we would need to have a continued coordination in order to continue to get people out and evacuate them, as we are going to plan to do after the 31st. Go ahead. Well, go ahead, Shelby.
Thanks. I just have two for you. This morning, Kirby tweeted that the evacuation operations in Kabul won't be wrapping up in 36 hours and that they'll be evacuating as many people as they can until the end of the mission. What does the administration define the end of the mission as? Is it the 31st, or is it once we evacuate everyone that the administration has promised to get out?
The end of this mission, yes, the 31st. But our commitment to getting American citizens out who may not be ready to depart continues. There is no deadline there's no end of that timeline, I should say, to getting our Afghan partners out. And I think he put out that tweet, John Kirby, as the Pentagon spokesperson, put out that tweet because there was a great deal of reporting that was inaccurate, that we were ending evacuation flights tomorrow, and that is not accurate.
And then just one more. The president promised earlier that they'll continue to get any American who wishes to get out of Afghanistan out even after the 31st. How is the administration going to ensure the safe evacuation for U.S. citizens without troop presence when, even with troop presence, we just saw this attack happen?
Well, again, over the last 11 days, we've evacuated 104,000 people, including the vast majority of Americans who were in Afghanistan. But our commitment does not end, right? We are continuing to work to get every American citizen who wants to leave out before the 31st. We will need to continue to coordinate with the Taliban in order to get people to the airport and out from the airport. Those operational details and discussions are ongoing, and as we have more to report to all of you, we will provide that information. Go ahead.
Thank you, Jen. Moments ago, you said that the commitment doesn't end at the end of the month, and that despite August 31st, the commitment remains. During his remarks moments ago, the president said that we were going to try and get, quote, as many people out as we can. Is he trying to prepare the American public for a sort of harsh reality that some Americans might still be left on the ground there when we leave?
There are some Americans who may not have decided to leave by the 31st. That is possible. Many of these Americans who remain are dual citizens. They may have extended family members, 20 family members, 30 family members, others who they want to bring with them, and they're not ready to make that decision yet. Our commitment to them does not end. We will continue to work to get them out. But his objective and focus and laser focus, which he asks for many updates a day on, is getting every American who wants to leave out now in the next few days. That is what our U.S. military is working to deliver on.
Jen,
go ahead.
A quick follow-up to that. What are those Americans supposed to do on September 1st?
We have been reaching out, in touch with every single American who has reached out to us, and we have contact for via phone, email, text, WhatsApp. That will continue. That will continue. But our focus right now is on getting every single American who wants to leave out in advance of the 31st.
Jen.
Go ahead.
Jen, given that you had intelligence about the attack, even as I understand it, down to the very gate, but weren't able to stop it, what hope do you have of thwarting further attacks that the President told us just now, and I quote, were inevitable? And if not, isn't the decision to stay potentially the wrong one? Is my first question. I got a quick follow-up.
Sure. Well, I would say first that General McKenzie spoke to this earlier today, our version of this question, which is a very good question. And what he conveyed clearly is that they are committed, our U.S. military is committed to continuing the mission despite the fact that there are daily risks and despite the fact that there are ongoing threats. That speaks to their courage, that speaks to their commitment and their service to this country. Obviously, anything they need, anything that the national security team needs, our military commanders on the ground need to thwart, to prevent these attacks, to go after terrorists, they will be granted. But I'm not going to get into more details than that.
And just secondly, you mentioned earlier, I think in an answer to Caitlin, that there were other operations or methods of getting Americans to the airport, particularly given what's happened today. What will you do for the thousands or tens of thousands of Afghans with and without visa papers who were finding it impossible to get to the airport prior to the attacks today and who will now be presumably even more full of fear and confusion as to how they can possibly get out? What do you say to them?
We are also in touch with many of them, and we are giving them clear instructions on where to meet, when to come to the airport, how they can get out and evacuated from the country. We are also mindful in providing security threats when warranted, as we did last night, to prevent a large gathering that would be a greater attraction to terrorist threats. But we are, for individuals who are eligible for our programs, whether they are SAV programs, P1, P2 programs, other vulnerable Afghans, we are continuing to work to get as many out as we can, and we will continue to work with our partners and allies to continue to get them out.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Can I follow up on that? It seems like right now Americans and Afghan allies still in Afghanistan are facing two choices. Either they stay where they are and risk being hunted down by the Taliban, or they try to get to the airport and risk being blown up by ISIS. How does this evacuation mission continue without evacuees risking their lives?
We are in direct contact with every American citizen we have contact information for. Email, phone, text, WhatsApp. And we are working with each of them and their families on an individual basis on how to get them evacuated to the airport and evacuated. That's the process. I'm not going to get into more details about how that works because it's not in their interests. It's not in the security interests of our troops or the individuals we're trying to work to get evacuated. Go ahead all the way in the back, pink shirt, yeah.
Has Joe Biden spoken with any foreign leader after the attacks in Kabul?
This today, I will have to check on that for you. That's a great question. I'm not sure he has today, but I will check on that for you. And as you all know, he's going to be meeting with the Prime Minister of Israel tomorrow. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Does the president report having Secretary Austin focus on a stand down to address extremism in the military, or Mark Milley saying that the greatest threat to democracy in our country was...
They just cut her off. All right, just a moment. All right, more lies and cries, but we knew that was coming. Let's get some shout outs in. Thank you so much, Frank, Mokum, and Sleuthy TV for your donations and your support. And thank you so much, Carmel, Mr. Average, and Life Lost for joining the membership program, and welcome to the family. You're officially hooligans. Yeah, so she provided absolutely no information at all. But, you know, that's nothing new. At least she didn't start telling us about more restrictions and the war on the people that refuse the jab. So at least we escaped that for the day. Nonsense. Everything they're saying is nonsense and contradictive, and she just doesn't say anything. She doesn't say anything. She's worse than YouTube customer support. Anyways, I don't have anything else to say about it. I pretty much said all I had to say after old man Walter wandered off, getting lost in the backyard of the White House. But I really appreciate all of you guys. Thank you so much for being with me. Thank you so much for showing all your support. Big shout out to everyone that made donations, joined the membership program, or purchased any merch. You guys are keeping the show going. I would not be able to do this without you guys. And it's so awesome to see so many people that are hungry for the truth and want to see what's going on. And especially those that are up to date, people that are in the Discord, and even those that are finding their own research. We're all on the same page. And so when they try and lie to us and they try to tell us, you know, their version of what's happening, we're not even phased. It's just wind blowing between us. It's just nothing. We know what's going on. We have our eyes wide open. So we'll know what time it is when that time comes. These people are full of shit and we know it. So thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate all of you. Please make sure that you subscribe or follow whatever platform you are currently watching right now to stay connected to us. We go live every single day. Lately, we've been going live more than once in a day. And also join the Discord. That way you will always receive a notification for when and where we go live. And like I keep mentioning, the general chat as well as the other chat threads in the Discord, there's 24/7 conversation going. There's constant information pouring in. There's like-minded individuals in there. So you don't have to feel like you're alone, because you're not alone. All of us feel the same way, if it's not evident in the chat that you're in right now. So please join the Discord. You'll be welcomed with open arms. You will feel right at home there. I don't know what else I can say about it. It's something you definitely want to be a part of. So it's worth going through the little bit of hassle to get in there, but when you get in there, it'll be worthwhile. Dr. Cosby, I will post the link as soon as I am off the screen, but it is also in the description of any platform you guys are currently watching if you don't want to wait for me to post it into the chat. All the links are in that Linktree post that I post. I know it abbreviates an image and it's different depending on where I post it, but click the Linktree. You will find links to connect with me on everything. How to become an official hooligan, how to get the shirt that I'm currently wearing, how to join the Discord, how to follow me on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff. So definitely click the link and connect with me. And I will see you guys in the Discord in a little bit. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate all of you. And until the next live, stand tall, shine bright, and that's a wrap.